SoFi feels so good. The Vikings snap a two-game losing streak with a 27-20 victory over the Chargers. Welcome into Vikings Postgame Live, presented by Miller Lite. I'm Tatum Everett, and now the Vikings are 4-5 on the season after a huge win. They had the lead, and there's a bunch of things we have to get to. In this show, we've got Mike Zimmer coming up with his press conference. We'll also do some film breakdown, and we'll get to Between the Lines with Ben Lieber and Gabe Henderson. But first, let's bring in our guest in the studio today, Gopher great Ron Johnson. Thank you so much for being here. And it does really feel much different after a victory.
Yeah, I feel like so many games we were getting in here and just trying to make fans feel better about what happened. But yeah, they finally pulled it off. Good win, 4-5, tied with the Falcons now. So I hate to say it, but this Packers game now means something. They can put themselves back into this playoff picture. The 7 teams now being added. I think people forget that because of COVID and all the changes. There's now a 7th team in the playoffs. So they're right in this thing, and it doesn't feel real, but it's true. 4-5 put you in the playoffs right now.
After all of the effort that was put in the last 2 games and coming up short, I think it was a little bit worrying maybe how much effort and would they continue to fight, and they did so today.
Yeah, and again, not in the playoffs, but in the playoff race. But yes, I think the key was you look at the stats, you look at time of possession. We talked about third downs, all that, getting Justin Jefferson the ball, all the things that they said they needed to do, they did it. 11 targets for Justin Jefferson. That was huge. That opened up those run lanes. This is a team that needs to pass to run. You don't always have to run to set up the pass. When you're passing efficiently like that, they're not allowed to stack the box and just make it tough for Dalvin Cook, and that's what you saw today.
Yeah, definitely a great result, and there were men of their word, as you said, getting JJ the ball, which we will get to in a little bit on the show. But first, let's get to those highlights and watch how this victory unfolded. On the Chargers' first possession of the game, Eric Kendricks in his homecoming with a nice 15-yard loss, a sack of Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Justin Herbert there, you could tell he stumbled a little bit, and Eric just kept coming, and it was lights out.
On the ensuing punt, D.D. Westbrook on the return. He takes it 45 yards on here. Special teams looking good today.
Yeah, between him and Kene Wangu, this is an actual team that could be a force. And the great job was by 66. He didn't block in the back, put his hands up, and that was key.
It was scoreless after the first, but in the second quarter now, A nice catch there from Justin Jefferson. Nice to see him in this game. A lot of him in this game. And obviously this led to the Tyler Conklin touchdown in the second quarter that put the Vikings up 13-3.
And that was just Kirk Cousins being decisive. The minute he saw the motion, he recognized it was red 2 coverage. Everybody was going to sit. He did a great job getting the ball to his open guy.
On the ensuing Chargers possession, it was Larry Roundtree with a 1-yard diving touchdown to make it a 13-10 game at halftime. And we move to the third quarter now. Justin Herbert with the ball in their first possession in the second half, and it's to Austin Eckler.
Yeah, and that's tough when you have a running back that can catch like that. I mean, that's between 3 guys, and that's what Austin Eckler brings to the team.
Vikings get the ball here in the third quarter, and another Justin Jefferson back shoulder throw from Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that's Cousins. I mean, he was covered. That's trusting your guy to make a play, and we'll see it later on. He did it again.
And again, another drive ending with a Tyler Conklin touchdown. Who'd have predicted it, huh?
Tyler Conklin, he probably predicted himself, but that's 2 guys running into each other. Does a great job on the over route by the other tight end to free him up.
Vikings would add to their 20-17 lead with a Dalvin Cook run here in the fourth quarter. They'd be up 27-17. Things looking good at this point.
Yeah, and that's just he wanted it more. That's big on big. He hit a guy, and then he wanted it more.
The Chargers would make it a little bit of a game towards the end, but plays like this kept the Vikings offense on the field and the win in sight.
Yeah, and that's the back shoulder throw from Kirk Cousins. Again, Justin Jefferson, man-to-man coverage. I'm going to take that 90% of the time. I'm throwing it Justin's way.
I mean, look, after seeing 45 minutes time of possession for the Ravens last week, I'm just really happy to see that that's a battle that we won this week.
Yeah, and the first downs. I mean, when we look at the third downs as well, they didn't have that many third downs. They were doing a good job on first and second down, getting first downs and prolonging these drives.
Holding Justin Herbert in check for the majority of the game was this defense's, I guess, highest priority on list of things to do today, and they did so with several inactives today. Obviously, Patrick Peterson on the IR list. Michael Pierce was placed on IR this weekend. Harrison Smith out for his second consecutive game as he's on the COVID-19 reserve list. And a game time decision with Anthony Barr not playing in this game. So despite all of these big time names not in the game, the defense still got the job done.
Yeah, and it starts with Cam Bynum. I mean, of course, you still have Eric Kendricks out there, but Cam Bynum on the back end. Missing Harrison Smith, we thought, and it still is a huge piece, but we thought it was going to be detrimental, and Cam Bynum's been playing great football.
Speaking of, it was a happy homecoming for both he and Eric Kendricks, both California natives. They had big games. We'll also talk about how the offense got back on track. You weren't, kind of clinching like, oh no, another check down, oh no, another short pass. They took some shots, and so we'll talk to Ron more about that, as well as touchdown Tyler Conklin's big day. So let's kick things off with the Bynum Kendricks conversation. Kendricks walks away with an interception, a sack, and led the team with 7 tackles. Bynum a sack and 5 tackles. They had quite a day.
Yeah, and again, that's created pressure from Mike Zimmer. You're getting sacks from guys that aren't in your front 4. So the fact that you can get sacks and pressure from guys not in your front 4, that's created pressure by Mike Zimmer. We've seen this defense before. We've talked about the A-gap mugging, but Eric Kendricks won, triggered when he was supposed to, kept coming, didn't lose track of where the quarterback was. Same with Cam Bynum. And then, of course, the interception for Kendricks, that was huge. I mean, that was just he's covering Keenan Allen underneath, and he understood the assignment, and that was a perfect job by him.
Oh, understood the assignment. I like it. I like it. There you go. Justin Herbert today, 20 of 34 for 195 yards, and really favoring the right side of the field there. Wow, that actually was a little surprising for me.
Not for a right-handed quarterback. That's the problem. Is like Kirk Cousins is actually his scatter chart's a little bit better, but that's a young kid that Mike Zimmer realized. If he's looking left, he's trying to come back right, and Herbert did that a ton today. It worked sometimes, other times it didn't.
Let's check out that sack from Eric Kendricks. Some of these defensive pressures that the Vikings were able to do today.
Yeah, and it's just a delayed blitz. And you'll see him there. He waits and he triggers. As soon as he knows his guy is not in that, it's a delayed blitz. So being back 6 yards, or so from the ball, 7 yards, that was the key for him to get to the quarterback. And the quarterback didn't feel him coming.
And here's another. This is the one, just more pressure on Herbert.
Yeah, the interception from Kendricks. What you saw him, he sat there, He read, and I wish you could see the whole back end, but he sat there, he read it, and then he flipped his hips, got underneath the throw. And again, when you see a guy running open in the zone, you just don't assume a linebacker can make that play. That's another diving interception. We've seen him make that before, and he continues to impress.
And then Cameron Bynum with a sack today.
Yeah, and that's coming from depth. That's huge. When you're that deep and you come up late, they don't have time to put you in the count and the clock. And so that was key for him to not show it too soon. He came down into the box, made it look like cover 3, and then he still triggered, came off late. And that was a key hidden play. A lot of young guys freak out when they know they have a blitz coming and they just go and get to the line of scrimmage. He crept down as if I'm covered. I'm just replacing the linebacker. And then the minute the ball was snapped, just like Eric Kendrick snaps, it was a delayed linebacker blitz. He did it from the same depth. And their offensive line did not a horrible job, but they did a bad job both times trying to pick up that secondary rusher.
I wanted to ask you about that Kendrick's interception. When you talk about this, how much do we take his athleticism for granted after he's made play after play? And this is especially in this game without Anthony Barr.
Yeah, I mean, you look at DBs, you look at linebackers. They call linebackers running backs that couldn't catch, and they called, DBs receivers that couldn't catch. And so he's the linebacker that can actually catch, and he's really athletic. But the diving catch, that's the key. A lot of linebackers, you see them catch the ball in their chest or, in their stomach. He reaches out, full extension, and he's a great hand catcher. Like he grabs the ball. Mm-hmm. He took it away from Keenan Allen because Keenan Allen, in his mind, is like, this guy's 2 yards behind me. This is a catch. And I guarantee Herbert thought the same thing, but Eric Kendrick spoiled their fun.
An absolute game changer at linebacker, huh? Let's talk a little bit more about the offense, though. Back on track, I feel like it's been a bit of an off time for them the last couple of weeks, but this felt like a complete game performance from the offense.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the first 7 minutes of every game, and those are the scripted plays. Kirk Cousins, 152 passer rating, 386 yards, which is tied with Tom Brady only. You look at his 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, leads the NFL. Who is he tied with? Tom Brady. So he's doing Tom Brady-esque things in the first 7 minutes. And then, and the stat came up too on Fox, that in the last 2 minutes of the half, 45 points. And so that's where the change is. They're giving up 45 points defensively. And then offense, they stall in the third quarter to start. So Kirk Cousins, you just saw it continue as the third quarter got going. He kept getting better, kept getting stronger. You see a scatter chart. I talked about that. He's not afraid to throw to his left. You saw Herbert a ton to his right.
Yeah.
He throws to the middle, to the left. He kind of threw to the guys that were open, and he saw those 2 deep ones on the right to Justin Jefferson. But he's throwing to the open guy, and I think that was the key today. He didn't force it to one person. He let the game call itself. When he saw man covers over Justin, I guarantee in his helmet, that's what Kubiak was telling him. Hey, if Justin's one-on-one, take that throw.
Yeah, that seemed to be working really well today. 9 receptions, 143 yards. And after only being targeted 9 times in the previous 2 games, he was targeted 11 times today.
Yeah, and you look at the routes here. I mean, it's a bevy, a plethora. It's not the same route. He had a go, he had an over, he had a comeback, he had a swing, he had an out. And the out where he got held and still caught the ball, that just showed me he got out of that so quick. Kirk Cousins can trust, like, hey, even if he's being held, he's going to end up in the right spot and not leave me out to dry. And when a quarterback can have trust, and those 2 deep balls today, when a quarterback has trust like that, that's going to help him because next week when you look at Jair Alexander, you look at these Packers, you look at Devondre Campbell, all these guys that are coming for this Packers defense, he has to be able to trust because you're going to have to throw the ball sometimes when you're not ready to throw.
JJ got his groove back.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know. I'm glad I could make you laugh with that one. We didn't get to see him hit the end zone today, and that's because he set up a lot of these plays for Tyler Conklin, who was a big red zone threat today. His first multi-touchdown performance of his career. Yeah,
Conklin can thank Jefferson because on that one, Jefferson's backside by himself, the safety has to stay over on Jefferson's side. That linebacker can't come inside that hash because he's worried about the slant. So they had Justin kind of bracketed in the red zone, which Kirk Cousins' motion from Kubiak helped him understand, okay, they're in red 2. Where's my open guy going to be? And it was Tyler Conklin. Same with the over route. That created a window with Tyler Conklin because everybody's so worried about Justin Jefferson. So he can thank JJ for his touchdowns.
Yeah, he can make 3 receptions count with those 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and that's why you're asking from your big guy.
Exactly.
He's 6'6", big hands, basketball player, box these guys out. And on this first breakdown, you're going to see it here. You're going to have the motion. That's going to really give Kirk the understanding of, okay, if this guy's chasing KJ, is it man? Well, yeah, it's kind of man, but then look at the safeties and linebackers. Nobody else really moves. They're still just trying to run a bracket. Backside was man, front side was zone, so some kind of cover 6 or sky protection, they call it, or sorry, sky coverage. And then same thing here. You're going to see the motion. It's going to help Kirk Cousins understand. Again, you're going to have man to this other side. You got 2 crossers, and when they cross, they do a great job of the rub is what it's called. You basically run at different levels, 1 yard apart. That was just the best outcome. 2 guys running to each other. Normally, you want to make the guy either run over the top or underneath. This time, they both ran into each other because they did not understand the assignment.
They did not understand the assignment. But obviously, as you said earlier, Tyler Conklin did understand the assignment. He is at the podium right now after his big game today.
Everybody can hear me?
Yeah. That's on me.
Tyler, could you tell this week that there was going to be an emphasis on getting the ball downfield to Justin?
Yeah, I think there's just an emphasis on our offense wanting to come out and be aggressive. That was a big thing for us this week is, being aggressive and not just being aggressive, but staying aggressive. And I think we did a good job doing that today.
Just how good does this victory feel after dropping 2 games in a row in tough fashion?
Yeah, it feels great. Like you said, we dropped some tough ones and to go on the road and have another close one and find a way to finish it out is a good feeling. And we'll enjoy it for a day and then get back to work for our division game. But it feels really good.
Was there any part of after you lost the 10-point lead of, oh no, here we go again, or anything along those lines?
No, I think as a team we know how good we can be. We believe in each other, and we've really been looking forward to these challenges and trying to overcome them. And I think we did a good job doing that today.
In your second touchdown, could you tell that your defender had kind of collided with someone else and lost you, or is that something you don't even sense?
All I really felt at first was he was kind of holding me, and then I kind of felt the collision because he stopped holding me, and I just saw the ball up there, so I was like,
What was the feeling in the huddle when Zim decided to go for it there on 4th down, 4th and 2 at the end?
I think that just kind of goes with the whole moral of being aggressive. 4th down, we have the ball in our hands, we need to go close out a game. And anytime you get the ball in Delvin's hands, you feel good about a play call. So being aggressive and getting him the ball is what you want to do.
Tyler, you've had so many of these weeks where you're trying to scramble to score at the end or watching the defense try to make a stop. What did it feel like in the huddle to be in victory formation?
It's the best formation in football. And, every week you have your Saturday walkthroughs, you get in victory formation, and that's what you want to be in at the end of the day on Sunday. And, it was a great feeling.
Tyler, what stands out to you about playing?
All right, Tyler Conklin there at the podium after his multi-performance game. And Ron, I mean, he's very even-keeled about it, and I think it's important to note how much of how well of a job he's done stepping up in place of Irv Smith, because we really don't talk about missing him as much when you have a guy like Tyler Conklin who can kind of fill in.
Yeah, he came in as he was supposed to be tight end 2, and now he got thrown into tight end 1. And he's done a great job. I mean, again, I think he's created a role for himself when Irv comes back. Now you have 2 formidable tight ends, and Conklin's getting the necessary, I guess I'd say, experience this year to understand, we really can go 2 tight ends because everybody was concerned about who's going to be the second tight end. Is Conklin ready? Conklin's ready, and he's showing it now.
He is proving himself as we speak. Speaking of, we need to look forward now because the win is great. We'll enjoy it for 24 hours. That's the rule. But now we've got to look ahead to a division game. The Packers come into U.S. Bank Stadium now with momentum in the sails. What do you think that's going to be like next week?
Well, you got the Packers coming off a 17-0 win over the Seahawks. You got the Vikings coming off a win. So I think it's going to be an atmosphere it's always Packers-Vikings no matter what the records are is great. But now you have a team in the Vikings that really need to show we are as good as we say we are. We're going to finish another game because they've been in every single game. And so that's the key now is the Packers. It can't be a letdown. It can't be a blowout. It has to be we're in this game. Aaron Rodgers, keep them uncomfortable. And Zimmer's always done a great job of that.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, this was Aaron Rodgers' return to this Green Bay team off of the COVID-19 list. You saw what the Packers were like without him. He is tough to beat when he's in the game. There's just no denying it.
Yeah, and he was rusty to start the game. Him and Russell never got the rust off, but Aaron Rodgers, we know with Devontae Adams what he wants to do. We know he got Randall Cobb for a reason in the red zone. So I think that's Mike Zimmer's key. How do you stop him? How do you stop Devontae Adams? Because you're without Patrick Peterson for another game. And so figuring out, is it going to be a man situation where I'm going to trust Breland to cover him or Cam Dantzler? Or am I just going to play how they line up and try to do our best? Because we know the Packers do a ton of crossing routes and they do a ton of rub routes that the refs never call it. So they have to play through contact. They have to play through all the cheating and understand what the scheme is going to be for the Packers offense.
Okay, well, I am hearing in my ear that we have Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer at the podium as we speak.
All right, nice to win today. I thought our guys played very hard, like they typically do. We made some plays at the end. I thought defensively we played well all day. Got some good output from the special teams on some returns and good kicks. And then offensively, I felt like, we played much better in the second half. We had way too many penalties. Offensively, had to overcome 1st and 20 probably 3 times. Defensively, we had one or two pass interferences, I think, and so we need to clean that up. And but it's nice to get a win, and I'm glad that we're able to get one today. Like I told the team, it takes a lot of courage to fight through adversity when everybody's shooting arrows at you. And they came here to work, and they fought like crazy all week, like they always have, and finally it paid off. Question.
Mike, you mentioned everybody shooting arrows. Does it feel especially gratifying for you that the defense came out and played as well as they did with, questions about them?
Well, we had a lot of players missing today. Peterson, Barr, Harrison Smith, Michael Pierce, Hunter, but these guys battled today. I was proud of the way the corners played. They did a nice job, I thought, and we did a good job for the most part in the running game too, I think.
Mike, why do you think Cousins was able to get the deep ball going today versus?
I think he had some shots early in the game that he didn't take. But I think he settled down, and in the second half he was able to, we got some single coverage, and they're playing a lot of basically double coverage on Thielen and Jefferson on third downs, and then we finally got in some plays where we could get some single coverage with them.
Mike, what can a victory like this do for your team, knowing that it was close, knowing that they had to overcome things that shot them in the foot before and kind of get redemption?
Yeah, well, when I got in the fourth quarter, I knew we'd been there before a few times. So, I was just trying to figure out a way how we're gonna win the game. And I told Clint, hey, be aggressive here, try to go score. And we unfortunately we got a 1st and 20 on that drive, and then we 4th and 2, and there's no way that we're not going to try to win the game right there.
How'd you feel about Justin Jefferson showing? I know Clint Kubiak said during the week.
Say what?
How'd you feel about Justin Jefferson showing? I know Clint Kubiak said during the week that you guys were going to try to go more to Justin.
Yeah, he shouldn't be telling that to the media. But I did talk to Justin this week, and I told him we're going to get him the ball. I said, you got to do something for me, and that's come out here and practice real hard and do the things you're supposed to do and study and be precise in your routes, and we're going to get you the ball.
How did that added aggressiveness from the play calling perspective play into the 4-minute mode that you guys were at the end of the game?
Well, it was to the point where it really wasn't 4 minute. I didn't care about 4 minute. I wanted to end the ball with the ball in our hands, and so that was really what we were trying to do. It was trying to go score if we needed to, and then clock got down, and they used their timeouts, and we were able to win the game.
Will you touch on that confidence you have?
Excuse me?
Will you touch on that confidence you have in Jefferson to kind of tell him a week in advance, hey, get ready because we're going to come to you on Sunday, and then his ability to kind of show up and play as you expected?
Well, he always shows up. I mean, he didn't get many balls last week. I know that he was very frustrated, and so, I meet with Cousins every week, and I kind of tell him what we need to try to do. But, Thielen made a great catch on, it was like 3rd and 18 or 3rd and 20 or something. He makes 18 yards, and so we got 2 guys that are really, really tough competitors, and we need to and 3 guys really with Cook. So we need to make sure that we are continually getting these guys the ball.
Kirk, no interceptions again for Kirk. You play so many close games. To have a quarterback that really doesn't turn it over very much at all, How key is that?
Yeah, it's big. You know, I do think that, you know, sometimes he needs to be aggressive with the football, and, you know, I thought he was today, especially in the second half. So, you know, he's got to trust everybody, and, you know, if he has to hum a couple in there and they get tipped or something, so be it. You know, that's why we're a team.
Mike, was part of your meeting with him to convince him to, you know, to give
Cousins,
guys,
you talking about?
Yeah, to give these guys a chance to make a play, you know?
No, I mean, we talk about a lot of different things. We watch some of the third downs together, and we talk a little bit about football. And you know, and usually he'll ask me questions about defense, and you know, I'll talk to him about you know, things I see on the tape from the other team, and then sometimes we just talk about football and, you know, kind of where we're at and where we need to do and what we need to, you know. So it's nothing like, I mean, I'll throw some hints in there, and you know, he'll hint to me a little bit too.
It seemed like he was just, you know, finally after a couple games with Jefferson was willing to just take more chances.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, I think sometimes, you know, I talked to him during the game. You know, one time he came off, and you know, I said, you know, what did you see on that play? And I said, you know, I think Adam had that guy beat, and he said, yeah, I didn't see him quick enough. And so, you know, I think just the reinforcement of, you know, some of those kind of things. But then, you know, it's 2nd and 18 and whatever it is, you know, we got to get the ball down the field. We can't throw 5-yard throws. So, you know, some of those are dictated by the game situation and, you know, unfortunately penalties.
Even though you've been in the game a long time and won a lot of games, do you get still a particular joy when it's a defensive effort that strikes up big for your team, or are they all wins?
That's a good question. I mean, I like it when, you know, we go into a game shorthanded defensively and they play good. Yeah, I do like that. But I like to win. The players know that I hate to lose. I talked to them about it this week, how much I hate it, and you know, and how hard we work, how hard we compete, how hard we study during the week and practice, and you know, we got to start seeing the benefits of it.
Along those lines, just you were missing 5 top defensive players, and I know there's maybe been some concerns at times about defensive depth, but just how pleased are you way that some of these young guys, especially, all just stepped up to make up for that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Some of those guys, you know. You know, we had a lot of rotation in the defensive line today, especially after playing 98 plays last week. You know, I thought that I really think the corners did a nice job of challenging these guys. These are 2 really good receivers, and the tight end's a good player too. And so, you know, I thought we did a nice job. The interception by by Kendricks was big time. You know, I thought that was a heck of a deal, and the sack that he had early in the game was big too, because they got out of that protection rest of the day. They actually changed a bunch of protections during the game on 3rd down, and you know, we had a couple other pressures that we had to kind of get to.
Time for 2 more.
Excuse me?
What was the explanation you got on the fake punt from the ref of why they blew it dead?
He snapped it before the official said it was ready for play. Go ahead.
Was your 3-5 record a reason why you went for it on 4th down? Like we talked on Friday, right, about how much the Chargers went for it on 4th down, but you know, being in all these close games, where you just said, you know, it's like you said, it's time to win. We gotta go home with the W.
Well, I thought they would go for it on 4th down a lot more than they did today. No, I just told the team we're going to be aggressive. We're going to be aggressive, and you know, if we get beat because you know we run a fake punt and we don't get it, then we just got to suck it up and stop them on defense.
With Dalvin Cook, with the allegations, were you all concerned about how it might affect his mindset, and what do you think of this performance today?
Dalvin is a extremely resilient, competitive person that is a great team leader. I'm proud of him. I love the way he plays. I love the heart that he brings, and you know, he's one of my favorite players of all time.
All right, thank you.
All right, Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer at the podium post-win, talking about how his team was aggressive today, and obviously the results or in the scoreboard. Big thanks to Gopher great Ron Johnson for joining us on Vikings Postgame Live earlier. You can now catch him on the fan line on KFAN. And I'm sure he'll be ready to answer your questions after a victory rather than what it's been like the past couple of weeks. But speaking of SoFi, let's head right back out to California where we have Ben Lieber and Gabe Henderson on standby for Between the Lines.
All right, Ben Lieber, first and foremost, we got a win.
We got one.
Secondly, it wasn't on the last play of the game.
I know.
Your thoughts?
But there was that thought in my mind as it was 4th and 2.
It's like if we may come down to this.
And we had to pick up the first. I'm like, all right, what if we don't? Here we go. They're going to go down. They're going to score. Then they're going to have the chance to either go for the tie or go for the win. And here we go again with the last-second play. But Dalvin got it.
Dalvin got it. And when Dalvin rushes for 24 or more carries in a game, Vikings are now 9-2. So clearly running the ball was is the way to go. But we weren't as effective, only 3.9 yards per carry. But it was a grinder today.
Yeah, it was a grinder, and that's kind of how their defense is. Even though they're last in the league in run defense, you know, they were second in the league in giving up explosive plays, 20 yards or plus. And so I knew kind of going in this game that you're going to grind this thing out. I was expecting some more big chunk runs, but hey, credit to their defense. They did a good job, you know, stopping what we want to do. But I liked how aggressive our offense was for most of the first half. You know, going up until the last 2 minutes of the game, we were 60% throwing on first down. You know, everybody's like, oh, we're so conservative. All we do is run on first down. Well, we broke that tendency today. Now, sometimes it was successful and other times it wasn't. But I like how it kind of set the tone that we were going to be aggressive on offense.
I mean, just speaking of being aggressive on offense, Justin Jefferson today, 9 receptions, 143 yards. Literally no one on the field could cover him. The only time that he got stopped was when it was like defensive pass interference, or I guess we thought it was a drop ball right here where we were standing. But JJ was on fire today. This defense is on fire today. Eric Kendricks, another great game. I think 27 tackles in the past 2 games, interception, a sack, TFL, pass deflection. Your thoughts on the linebacker that passed your sack record?
I know. And the only thing I'll say is like, PA was trying to give me a hard time because he passed my sack standing list, and I'm like, look, he's played what? Twice as many, maybe 3 times as many snaps as I have, but I think my sack ratio is still higher than his. But look, I mean, Kendricks, I mean, he's playing at an all-pro level right now. He's playing out of his mind, and you know, Nick Vigil, you know, I got to give him credit. You know, I made notes in my notebook even early in the game, just like, man, he's really flying around. He's making his presence known. I think we all expected him to come out extra motivated to play against his former team, but I thought he had a lot of great plays. He had a lot of hustle plays. He was good as well. Both of those guys with the whole defense, they confused Justin Herbert because of the disguise package. Yeah. They did a great job disguising where the blitzes were coming from and when they were going to drop.
Well, one thing that's going to drop is this upcoming Sunday's game. There's going to be a lot of fans there dropping some noise on this Green Bay Packers offense. So let's get out of here with this. Vikings are 4-5. And we got a home game, a border battle next week against the Green Bay Packers. Tatum, back to you.
Thank you, Gabe and Ben. Appreciate the insight as always. Let's get to those scores from around the division, though. The Lions didn't win today, but they didn't lose. It ended in a tie. Our favorite way to end a game. Not. Lions, Steelers, 16 all. And then moving to the Packers score, as Ron mentioned earlier, they were winners today, 17-0. Over the Seahawks, which sets up a big game on Sunday at US Bank Stadium. Let's check out those standings. Vikings now securely there in that second spot with the Packers ahead, an 8-2 record. And the Chicago Bears and Detroit Lions there in the bottom of the NFC North standings. Well, after this win, that means tomorrow is Victory Monday, and we will have a one-on-one interview with one of the players for you tomorrow on all the Vikings social and digital channels. So be sure to check that out. And that's going to do it here for Vikings Postgame Live presented by Miller Lite. The Vikings winners 27-20 over the Chargers today to improve to 4-5 on the season. Have a great night, and we'll see you this time next week for the Packers game. Kickoff set for noon.